So fitness, how fit you are mentally to take on the daily challenges that come along. And I always think about that just because of basketball. I always say the way you play basketball is probably the way you'd be in your regular life. So.
Yeah, that's something you say often.
But it's real. It's real. We put it to the test.
Yeah.
And that's short-term memory.
Exactly.
You got a turnover.
I'm over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That quick.
Or somebody might break down. So they mess up in life, they break down, start tripping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you all this. Y'all can answer in any order you want. Is mental health overly diagnosed today?
I would say it could be both. It could be overly diagnosed and under not diagnosed enough. Somebody may be mentally ill, but they may say it's something else. It's not mental illness because you can't see it. They don't have a broken arm. You can see a broken arm or a broken leg.
It's not tangible. Yeah.
So I think it could be both.
So y'all remember this question because I have something that relates back to this later. So I asked this for a reason. So go ahead. Just keep that in mind.
All right. So you're asking us, is mental health overly diagnosed?
Yeah.
I would say, from my personal opinion, I don't think that it's overly diagnosed. I think that there is an increased awareness around mental health right now, which is why it might seem like it's overly. But I think that's just, it's an imbalance whenever we compare it to how we weren't necessarily paying attention to our mental health back in the day, opposed to now. It's like, oh my gosh, everyone's like worried about it, or everyone's thinking about it, everyone's speaking about it more so. But I would think that I don't say that it's overly diagnosed. And I would also, piggyback on what Ms. King was saying, it would probably be more so underdiagnosed or more so misdiagnosed, more so now. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay.
I don't want it to sound like dismissive, but I would kind of reframe that like how you asked, is it overly diagnosed? And I'm thinking about, as it relates to our community, I think it's overly accepted. I think there are some very traumatic situations that happen in our lives, but then I also think there are some situations that if we apply enough grit and enough thinking outside the box and applying logic to some situations, there's some things that we can overcome. I was just driving back from homecoming, and if you went to Langston University, you've experienced some definite struggles trying to obtain a degree. A lot. We talk about that retention rate as freshmen. It's easy to drop out.
So do you know the average, so I worked at Langston also. Do you know the average graduation time for a normal student is?
I would assume 5 to 6 years.
It's 7 years.
7.
Yeah.
I am not surprised.
But Langston also accepts the
Exactly.
kids who, typically wouldn't be going to college. But I was working there and I kind of looked at that. I was like, wow, that's kind of insane. 7 years is and people used to complain about not getting their refund checks on time. Then the reason why they don't get their refund checks in a timely manner is because they gave kids extra time to drop their classes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
To drop.
Yeah.
Wow.
And at most schools, you don't have the extra time to drop your class.
Right.
Just a little fun facts.
That's all coming.
Yeah.
Definitely. Right. That's LU Unplugged.
So, Dr. Tuepenz, what about you?
Well, I'm gonna say I think it's overly diagnosed because money. Piggybacking off what Vannice said, get people thinking about it, get people worrying about it. If you know anything about business, we know marketing is built off emotional marketing. You tap into the fear of the people, and you can make money off of it. So yeah, I'm gonna say people is overdiagnosing it for money. People are saying I got something wrong with me because it's cool to have something wrong with you. Now everybody's, like he said, they're over accepting of it, and because of that, people are finding a way to manipulate it for money.
I can add to that, and all those anecdotal experience because I worked in the social work field and I worked in the group homes. I'm sure some of y'all out there can relate, but yeah. So I've seen the effects of. I know the money that comes in from putting kids in the system and just throwing them on medicines, and not giving them an opportunity to overcome these traumas that they had in their life. So, and the medicine kind of just masks the situation. and so they never overcome. And it's like we raking in the money. So I can kind of agree with that. But these are all great answers to segue into my next question. So those amazing questions, answers, everybody.
Hey, Shelby.
Yes.
Real quick. So before you go to the next question, I wanted to speak to the whole, overly diagnosed, and so far as the money that comes with that. I definitely get that, and I understand it. My thing with it is, are we questioning the overly diagnosis of this because now Black people have more awareness and more acceptance? Because you got to think about it. White people spending spending money on mental health. This is kind of a little bit more newly accepted for us within our community.
Well, that's actually a great question, and let me just speak to that personally. So I think the Black people of like the 40s and 50s and 30s, I think they were stronger than we are today. I think they overcame obstacles and situations that we can never imagine, and I think they have a more stronger mindset and mentality. And I think sometimes it can be overdiagnosed and overlooked because I don't want to go too deep into, because some of the stuff is
okay.
yeah.
My bad.
So but in general, I do think we can be stronger in our mindset, and just because white people do it don't mean it's normal for us. Like I remember my mom telling me, it's like she's like, yeah, like all bad stuff that we have become accustomed to, like, and made it our culture. Like twerking is not a great thing. I don't know why y'all. I wouldn't say y'all, but a lot of people kind of look at twerking like, oh, this is just part of our culture. But twerking is not a good thing for our culture. But my mom used to like, yeah, back in the day, like we wouldn't be called dad doing things like that. Like my mom.
She recalled your dad doing something?
No, my mom said she wouldn't be. Black people wouldn't be called. Black people would not be called dad doing things like that. She'd be like, that's something that white people would like to do, or.
You know what? I can. Buy
So that's also a moral thing also. So I don't know. But anyways, you kind of jumped into the
my
future.
bad.
Why?
We didn't, because we get our butt told up. We get a spanking, we get a whooping.
And I just feel like Black people of that like the 40s, 50s, 30s, I feel like we have more morals. And one of my favorite people in history, I speak about all the time, is Booker T. Washington. He's one of the greatest Black men who ever lived. He grew up in slavery. He ain't complained about no white people ever in his life. White people actually helped him out also, but that's another story. But he never complained. He started a college back in the time where people said they ain't had no opportunity. So
Okay.
yeah, if y'all ain't read Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington, it's an amazing book. But let's go and jump forward.
All right.
That was a good question though. So I would like to ask everybody my next question. Where does mental health stem from? Where do you?
Sandwich with the wrong side of the bread. Thought I made it by a landslide, but instead I'm still hungover. Sometimes I make the wrong phone call after dark. Sometimes I make the wrong turn, then I have to pause. I know exactly how this ends.